Welcome to Not Your Average Cinema. Today we are going to be reviewing Happy Gilmore 2, which is a sequel many years in the making. Maybe some might argue at this point, maybe it shouldn't have been made. I think a lot of people would argue that, or like, does it need to be made at this point? Because I think we had maybe discussed this. I don't remember if it was once we saw a trailer for this, when it was actually confirmed. At some point, I remember us talking about, oh, what characters are still alive from the original, and it was very few people actually. It was not many of the main characters left, main cast. So it's like, how are they gonna do that with only at least kind of three of the biggest players in the original were still alive.
Yep.
Um, so I think the biggest other one was maybe Chubbs that we were missing
Yeah, for sure.
that
And
died.
sucks because it sounded like they did have stuff for him and they wanted to include him in there in a decent sized part, but had to kind of rework it. So that can always be worrying when that happens. But even apart from that, I was very worried about this film. It did make my top 10 most anticipated movies of the year, but because it's anticipated doesn't mean I actually think it's going to be good. I knew very well this could be horrible. Trailers
Oh,
had me worried that it would be, but as you can see by the ratings, and you have kind of in the top right the original film's ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, this is actually performing better for critics by 6 points, but a little worse for regular audience members. But overall, still on the positive sides, which seems. I think I would have gotten a lot more excited if I just saw that going into it. If there weren't trailers or anything, if you just told me there's Happy Gilmore and it's received better than the first one, I'd be like, that seems impossible. But I'm excited. But we will give you our ratings right off the bat, and then we'll go into the good and the mixed and the bad aspects of the film. I do not think this is anywhere close to the original film. I think this is far below it, but critics must see something in there. But even the audience, I think, is closer than I would have thought for that one because I know it's a film that a lot of people probably hold pretty close. And like we saw it, and you especially, growing up dozens of times. Uh, so yeah, this one definitely didn't live up to it, but I had my expectations in check by thinking it could be the worst movie of the year. And I walked away. It didn't embarrass itself too much, like I worried it would. So I'm probably gonna give this. I'll give it like a little extra point 0.5 than the number I was thinking. I'll give it a 6.5 for me. It's on the positive, but there's definitely issues with it. A 7 is like, okay, solid film, but 6.5, it's like there's issues, but it's not that bad.
yeah, like you said, I watched the original many times growing up. One of my favorite movies, probably of all time. It's 10 for me, I would say. Mostly because, especially growing up, I really loved Adam Sandler films and also play golf. So combining those two things, a lot of fun. And it is not the original. I knew going into this, I had no expectations of it even coming close to the original. I think you'd be pretty crazy with any movie that you love thinking a sequel could live up to it, if not beat the original. And I think this one's going to be a divisive film. I think there's going to be people that just absolutely hate it. There are things in it that I think people will not love, especially in 2025. Maybe
Yeah.
Adam Sandler being 60 years old. Some jokes aren't quite the same as when he was half that age. But for me, I don't know. I think it might have been nostalgia a little bit. I'm not saying that when I give this number, Pepper, this is not saying I think this is going to be people's favorite of the year or anything like that. I don't think that. I think if you did not like the original, I doubt you'd have any chance of liking this. Uh, if you like the original, maybe not. But I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. I had a lot of fun with this. I had a lot of fun with this. I don't think as like necessarily like as a movie, it's the greatest art ever or anything near that. I think there's been some a lot better ones this year, and but something about the nostalgia worked for me overall. I think there's some parts, and we'll get to kind of some good and bad and mixed. There's some parts that I'm like, okay, a little lazy. Maybe would have tried to do some different things in certain places, but at the end of the day, I knew there was going to be some of that. It's an Adam Sandler film. It's a sequel to a movie that was made like 20, 30 years ago. I just knew that those things were going to be in there. I didn't have high expectations going into this, and yeah, I was just very pleasantly surprised by it and had a good time. But that's coming from someone that yeah watched it dozens of times and really loved the original. Just having a chance to get back to this world of happies, what I thought it did it well.
Okay, wow, 9 out of 10. But like you said, there is a lot of just built-in love
Caveats.
for the characters and things like that. So not an Oscar sweep for this
No, no, no,
one.
no, no.
Okay, but yeah, let's get into the good. I think you're gonna have so much to talk about in this category. I didn't expect it. You probably thought I hated it more than I ended up with my number,
Hmm.
but I think you definitely love this more than I thought you did. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I was wondering what you were gonna think I thought of it.
yeah. I was thinking maybe eight he'd give it, but wow.
Yeah.
Let's get on to the good. We started off here with Happy Gilmore. The character, you think that they keep this character pretty much as lovable as he ever was?
Yeah, I thought they did a pretty good job of kind of keeping his childishness to him, while still having him feel like he has gotten older. I think they did a good mix of that overall in the film. Uh, I really like just getting back to having, yeah, Happy Gilmore as a character. I don't think they like did anything to completely ruin him or anything. Like sometimes I know that can happen, and there's things that happen in the movie and he gets kind of depressed and stuff. Obviously, I feel like that's one of the go-to things in sports kind of movies. Something tragic happens and they come back and whatever. I feel like that's almost every sports movie. It seems like when you're talking about an older person in the sport possibly making one final run or something, it's almost always that story. But yeah, I thought they did a good job with it and didn't like just totally kill the character or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But then Shooter, well, sorry, I'll let
No,
you
I was gonna
say
say
what.
I agree, and then I was gonna transition to Shooter, so take it away.
And Shooter, I liked I liked what they did with him. I think they kind of followed what I sort of thought they might do. Although initially I did like that, I thought he was maybe just kind of a Joe Schmo now or whatever, but spoilers, possibly minor spoilers. If you don't
Yeah,
want any spoilers, you can go check this one out. It's on Netflix, which is a nice thing to be able to go watch that. Um, but yeah, he's in an insane asylum kind of or an asylum kind of thing, and I just think that fits his. It just fits the character perfectly. Like you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's been 20, 30 years that he's been in here, still upset about that, holding this grudge. And then you just start hoping, like I was hoping. I'm like, I think by the end of this, we're gonna get a team up of Happy and Shooter at some point versus kind of oh they're gonna face off again. And I'm like, maybe you get that, but I think the funner option is having them eventually team up, and yeah, you get to see where that goes. Whether which one of those options happens, or maybe there's a death in the movie. Who knows? Maybe they don't make it.
maybe they don't. Yeah, I was nervous when you kind of saw a little few clips of them that looks like they're in a graveyard or something, and I'm like, why is he in like a robe or pajamas? What's going on? That kind of explains it a little bit as to why. And I'm like, looking a little old. And I was nervous. I'm like, is the magic still going to be there? Is he still going to be able to play Shooter? And what do they even have for the character to do? Insane Asylum was a little weird right away, but I do like that choice. And I think he did about as good a job with the character. He's in a big part of the movie, and he plays a good part in it. And I like the character. Obviously, nothing as iconic as he was in the original, but he didn't disappoint me. I was really worried that this would just feel like a shell of the former character, but it really brought some new stuff to it, and I really enjoyed it. I was surprised.
Yeah, he's been waiting to get back to this role, I think, for however long. And I thought I heard, I think Adam was talking about this guy, Adam Sandler, the actor, that he didn't like, I think initially want to be part of this film or be Shooter or whatever. And I'm just like, I can't imagine Shooter being any other. And he played it so well in the first one, and then yeah, followed it up with another excellent performance here, which is awesome. This many years later, being able to still capture pretty close to the original Shooter.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, he's more than just a cameo, but speaking of the cameos, that was another thing. Leading up to this, looking at the Wikipedia, and it just lists like 25 different celebrities, and it's like, oh no, what are we doing? Where's the actual movie here? This is just going to be cameo fest. I was really nervous. I thought for sure that was going to be a huge negative, but
It
they,
was my biggest worry. It was my biggest
yeah,
worry, I think.
yeah, mine as well. And they just, it's pretty seamless. There's a couple here that are like, okay, that's a bit much, but all the celebrities, the golfers actually have a purpose. The celebrity golfers to be in the movie makes sense because Happy's a golfer, you run into these people. It's weird to accept that they're in the same universe, but once you do that, I'm like, they're in the movie for a reason. And everyone else that has a cameo, Travis Kelce's in there, Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny's in more than just one scene. I'm like, it did not detract from the movie really at all. If anything, it added to it quite well.
Yeah, 100%. I was blown away by how, I think it ended up being amongst all the things like over 70 plus cameos. And if you told me any movie had that many cameos in it, it's like, what is it, Avengers Endgame or what? That's the only thing I think that I'm like, okay, maybe that can work. You can get that to work in certain ways, but then you're talking, yeah, seconds at a time that you maybe see a character or
Yeah,
something. But in a normal film or a sequel, oh gosh, that's a death for the movie.
yeah,
It's incredible how well they were able to put all these people in there pretty seamlessly in most circumstances. And yeah, maybe there's a couple here there aren't as great as the others, but I, it's about as good as I could have imagined if you
yeah,
told me that it had that many.
yeah.
I I would not have imagined any better than what it ended up. So very impressed with that. And one of the cameos was MJF as part of his family, along with Adam Sandler's actual daughters. I think are in this.
Daughters and
Um,
sons. And it's like
oh
pretty
yeah,
much his whole family. And
so
MJF.
families in the film.
His whole family,
Yeah,
MJF, and Claire from Modern Family from the original. That's his family. And John Daly.
right. And yeah, I think as a family unit, maybe didn't need as many kids in some cases, and they did do a couple things that maybe you could argue or felt maybe a little repetitive. I thought their family unit worked pretty well. It actually went to them more than I maybe would have thought.
Yeah.
They had a few more scenes with the family than I would have thought they would have.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, and it is repetitive, but it got me every time as you see all these boys going wild like a young Happy Gilmore. I'm like, yep, that's what it would be like if even if
Callbacks.
you.
Some of those callbacks were really good. I'm like, that's a good way to do that.
Yeah, a lot of fun with that household. I cannot imagine living next to them.
No. But yeah, that was some of the humor that I found was pretty good. I think overall, when you go into an Adam Sandler film, you know what kind of humor you're getting, and there's definitely gonna be some misses, but I think they kept most of the humor pretty solid and captured a little bit of the magic, especially kind of trying to go back to old jokes. I think they
Yeah,
did a pretty good job at being able to recapture some of them. Sometimes you'd think that would maybe feel a little, stale or not quite work trying to go back and do something again. But overall, I felt like they most of the time it did. They found unique ways to do it, like that for an example, having the family member, the kids, the boys doing kind of, if you remember from the first one, have the, you'll see it when you'll know what it is. Not to spoil it. So.
yeah, yeah. And then another thing about the family, I think you brought it up, and not just kind of sticking with what's their name? Claire's name. I call her Claire because that's what I know her from Modern Family.
That's all I know her as. I don't know actors and actresses' names.
Yeah, you made a point that they didn't just go pull the Top Gun Maverick, get rid of the old love interest, bring in the whoever the new popular star is here, bring in Sydney Sweeney or something like that to be his new love interest. They kept with it, kept those characters, those two characters from the original, and thought that that was nice that they kept them together for the whatever 30 plus years. So
Yeah, I like that as well. And unfortunately for cameos, Pedro Pascal did not make an appearance.
yeah,
So
that was
out of all those
disappointing.
options, he was not in this film.
That took 2 points off of my
That
rating.
was an oversight by the team.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, moving into the mixed aspects of the film, we have weird golf, wacky golf. Kind of a core part of this film, maybe a little spoilery, is that there is another kind of golf league trying to get off the ground and be a competitor and
Not
be
live.
not live golf at all. Um, what was it called? Like Maxi, I think it was called something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
Maxie.
Maxi. Um, but yeah, so it's kind of the competitor, and it's a feud between the two, the old way and the new way, which the new way is the TikTok generation of golf. It's just wacky and fast and fun. You drive it farther than ever. There's a bunch of crazy things on the course. And that's, it feels kind of a bit over the top, stupid sequel kind of feeling from it. But then on the other hand, it's kind of fun. But then you throw in some like visual effects elements and just kind of like how they handle the drives and things like that. Just the classic things. I felt like they were more impactful back in the day, but now you're like, oh, they're just using CGI golf balls, so everything goes perfect and bounces off trees in a perfect way. And I don't know if it looks fake or if I'm just convincing myself it looks fake because I know it's probably visual effects, but it took me out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. There was something about it that just felt like yeah, it was most focused on like one part of the golf game. So being a golfer, it kind of took away from that for me as well. Because there is a scene where Happy is golfing, kind of normal golf with some regular golfers and stuff, and that probably was my favorite golf part of it.
Okay.
I would say that him actually golfing. I think that was probably my favorite. But yeah, this it wasn't that it was bad. I just don't know if I would have maybe changed some things up. The golfer in me, if I would have like not just focused on one part of the game and kind of split it amongst putting and chipping and driving and all the different things you could do versus just maybe one focusing mostly what seemed like on one part.
Yeah. Yeah, when I think back to the original, like it feels like a nice stroll through the course. Like you get a whole round, like the feeling of a round of golf is there, where it's
Even though he is mainly driving the ball, it
yeah,
feels like it felt more like yeah. I don't know what it is about it, how it works, but it does feel like he's like just a normal golfer going on the course in the first one, and this one doesn't have necessarily that feeling.
yeah,
Outside of I think that one
yeah,
round that he had there.
yep. And then going on to the story, the overall story, which kind of ties into that. What did you think of the story for this one?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea, especially with kind of the all the controversy over the last few years surrounding live golf and the PGA kind of having a competitor golf thing, kind of trying to bring in this new generation of golfers that's more fast paced and stuff. I like that idea, but yeah, how they ended up presenting it and what they did for that, I don't know if it worked 100% like I would have liked it to. But then yeah, the story of kind of what happens with Happy and stuff in the beginning and kind of that. I feel like they maybe could have done that a little bit differently or something. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. You'll see it when if you watch this movie and that part of it. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of. I was worried about something we had mentioned earlier, but that didn't end up happening. So it kind of worked for it ended up working for me. But yeah, I don't know how to say that without spoiling it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do. Uh, but yeah, yeah, kind of hard to talk about different story elements. But yeah. So then the very, very bad son of not a swear word
You
here.
don't have other. You just added the.
It's dot dot dot. No. Son of. So s- felt to separate this in the cameos. Most of them are good. Some of them the sons of previous characters mainly. Because you have, if you watch some of the trailers, if you haven't, then I guess maybe some slight spoiler warning. In the trailers, it looks like we have the son of Chubbs or someone who's filling this Chubbs role. They got a wooden hand as well. They have his construction worker, kid that looks a lot like him, so a son of him. And then there was another one. What is the? Oh yeah, the
Son of Jackwagon.
yes, and I didn't mind the kid that much, the construction worker kid, surprisingly. But the other two were maybe my two least favorite kind of characters in the film. I mean, you can't compete with Chubbs at all. So I'm like, and I didn't feel like he brought much new. They didn't really give the character anything fresh, which I guess is good. It
Uh,
keeps them not being a huge focus of the movie, but I'm like, that just felt really low in comparison to Chubbs. I mean, it's shoes you can't fill, so it's pretty unfair. And then the Jack Wagon Jr., which is Eminem cameo, I felt was pretty weak and weird looking, and it just kind of took me out of it.
yeah, it. I didn't even recognize who it was at first. And once I did, and then yeah, it went on, and I was like, I don't know that that really worked. I feel like sure you can do it. It makes sense to have if you're bringing back all these kids or shells of these former people that were in the other film. Sure, you could do it, but the way they did it, I felt like that one was the strangest.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I wasn't really a fan of those. Those are probably my least favorite ones as well.
Yeah, yeah, and that ties in with the humor, like some of the humor with that, some of the repetitive humor that maybe doesn't work, and just some of the childish Adam Sandler humor. There's some running gags in here. One of them I really like, with kind of one of his struggles and how he deals with things, and it's just the ways that they find to do it again and again and again. I really like that one actually.
It
Um,
did work for me. That did, surprisingly enough, something like that wouldn't always work for me, but that one did. For some reason, it got me every time. But then they kind of did a slight offshoot of that with another character, and then I absolutely did not like it.
Yeah, yeah. So there's just it could be in the mixed. Humor could be in the mixed. It's pretty much all Adam Sandler movies, but there's really good moments and there are really really bad moments. Even though we talked about good moments here, but there are bad ones. Where I mean, if you've seen another trailer, I saw what was it? Shirtless old guy on a beach or whatever in the trailer, first trailer, and I'm like, what? Why? What's this obsession with that kind of stuff? I'm just glad he didn't dress up as like some woman or grandma or something because he might like to do that in some movies too, and that's always not very funny. Um, but none of that here, thankfully. Um, but yeah, then the villain.
Yeah.
Um, again, shoes you can't fill. It's no Shooter McGavin. This main villain here feels he's supposed to be kind of slimy, and I get that feeling from him, but I think I get that feeling too well to where I actually dislike the character. Like I can't even just say, "Oh, they're a good villain" because they're slimy and I don't like them. I'm just like, I just don't like them, and I don't want to see him on my screen. And it's hurting the movie because he's such a good bad guy, I guess.
Yeah, that's just it. I didn't know if his look or something about it was yeah didn't work for me either. I was just like
Shooter
I don't
had
even know that.
likable qualities in him as well.
Yeah,
I just feel like they didn't give this character any.
right. That's probably true. I think that was probably the case. Is they didn't really give us anything to root for this character, and Shooter, you can at least kind of see where he was coming from in the original. Like he thought he was pretty much the promised son to win this gold jacket, and then this guy, who from nowhere comes in and whoops him for it, and you kind of feel bad for him because it feels like Shooter been doing his whole golfing his whole life for that, and
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, this guy just seemed like, oh, I'm trying to make a quick buck or something off of this, or make money off of it, and I don't know. That's a really weak motivation for me. So I don't know. Wasn't really anything that's like, oh, he earned it. And this is where I was. Spoiler, major spoiler. Tiger Woods does not make a cameo either. This is where maybe you could have done something fun with Tiger Woods. Maybe
Oh,
called him, what's his name?
Eldrick or something like that. Yeah.
Eldrick, his actual name. I feel like you could have done that and like said that, and everyone just pretend like they have a clue who it is, and he goes by his actual name. I feel like he could have maybe been a really fun villain, but maybe
That
they
would,
pitched that to him and he didn't like it, or I don't know. Maybe they were never going to have him in this, but
oh,
felt like
that,
a missed opportunity. So that's probably in a bad too. I would have liked. Feels like it would have been fun to have him in this.
yeah, no Tiger Woods. That seems like he just fits perfect in there. Um, Sadly, did not get him. But yeah, that was our review of Happy Gilmore 2. Only 1 point below the original for you personally. A few points, few notches below it for me. But yeah, it's not a total embarrassment, not going to be worst of the year like I really was thinking it was going to be. So, thumbs up. What more can you ask for?
Right. Yeah, and maybe it's currently just hot for me. And maybe if I watched it a couple more times, it probably wouldn't hold up as well as the original did for me. So I could see it going down. But yeah, I had fun with it. I could definitely see people's argument for, oh, this is not great. Um, and I don't think I could argue against them because there are things in it that it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
that's old school Adam Sandler humor there, and some people just don't like that humor at all, and that's fair. That is fair. But if you really like Happy Gilmore, I think it's at least worth one watch. See what you think about it. Probably, I would be shocked if anyone said, I like this one better than the original. I would be very, very shocked. But you can at least probably still enjoy it, I think. Have a
Yeah.
good time, in moments at least, at worst. So,
Yeah.
yeah. That's all we got to say about Happy Gilmore 2. Let us know in the comments below what you thought if you watched this one. But otherwise, we hope to see you on the next one. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on that microwave popcorn as you're watching Happy Gilmore 2 on Netflix.